Okay, so just decided to make a video about what happened with me, like with my self-harm and stuff. I was washing dishes one day and my dad came up behind me and saw just little scrapes and stuff on my arm, like probably from about here to like here, which isn't really that much. I mean, it's just like the span of your hand, like not even, like that's my hand span, which is 9 inches. It's like 6 maybe, and it was just light scratches, not really much. I had drawn my girlfriend's name in my arm with the razor blade. Really stupid idea, seeing as we're not even together anymore. But luckily you can't see her name anymore. And you can't really see my scars on camera, but they're very visible, and I'm quite self-conscious about them. I mean, you can see I'm in a short sleeve shirt, but like, I don't wear long sleeves anymore. I came out of them in, I think, February. Late January to middle February, sometime in there. And I had stopped self-harming in November, so it was a long time before I was comfortable. Like, even enough to be able to take off my sweatshirt. Because I literally wore a hoodie. I would crawl out of bed in the morning, put on my pants, and my hoodie. And sometimes my hoodie would go on before my pants even. It was to that point where I was that uncomfortable. There would be mornings where I wouldn't even shave. Like, I would close the door, which I still do. I always have. Since I started shaving, I would always close the door. I started shaving when I was 13. So, just a random tidbit. But it was just a habit. But even with that door being shut, I would still wear my hoodie, because I didn't want anybody coming in and seeing. There would be mornings where I would just cut because of how bad I felt, for whatever reason, and my mom would decide that she needed something in the bathroom or she wanted to talk to me, and I would have to swing the door open part of the way, put my hand up on the top of the hinge, like up on top of the door, just hold it, because I'm 6'1", I can reach it real easy. Put my hand up there, and which would also stop the bleeding somewhat because it's raised above your heart. It would slow the bleeding so it wasn't dripping, and she couldn't see it because it was hidden behind the door. And I did that so many times I can't even remember. But there was one morning I forgot to clean up. Like, I cleaned up, but I threw it in the garbage can and didn't take the garbage out, and I didn't flush it down the toilet or anything. And she found it, and she came in my room because I was real lethargic. I hadn't lost that much blood. I mean, maybe about 3 tablespoons worth. But I was just so depressed, I was laying in bed. I just got dressed after my shower and laid in bed. And she came in my room and started yelling at me. I just told her to get out. And I locked the door behind her. It doesn't help anything when you self-harm. It feels like it does, and it does for that moment, but the long-term effects is not worth it. Like, I'm still self-conscious of it. I was walking back from church the other day, and I just let my right arm hang. That's my clean arm, I guess. There's no cuts on this arm. I just let that hang, and then I put my left arm like this behind my back. So my back's here on this side, and the inside of my arm's facing the outside. And I just felt really uncomfortable all of a sudden. And it happens a lot still. And I mean, I'm 247 days clean today. And I'm still self-conscious about it. It's not something good. It's not something like trendy or helpful, or it's helpful for that moment, that brief second of being upset, that brief moment of feeling really down. It's only good for that. And then 2-3 hours later you feel even worse. I mean, once the endorphins wear off, you feel so much worse. And then to top that off, the next day or even that evening, you feel horrible because somebody might have seen, you think somebody might have seen, you're on edge constantly, thinking people are looking at you, thinking they might know. It's not fun. It's not emo, it's not cool, it's not trendy. It's not fabulous. It's destructive. Very destructive. And just because you cut somewhere someone can't see, you may not cut the inside of your wrist. You may cut your leg, on your thigh. It doesn't matter. Somebody will see eventually, and somebody will know. And I'm not saying that to scare anybody, but it's what happens. And just because they can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't affect them, doesn't mean it doesn't affect you. I mean, there are arteries in your leg, there are arteries in your arm. You hit an artery, it's minutes until you're bled out. If you hit the right artery in your arm, it could be 2 to 3 minutes before there's no blood left in your body. I mean, you'll be passed out within a minute and dead within 3 if you accidentally hit something. I mean, a lot of my cuts are on blood vessels, mostly blue ones, which is returning blood, and I did that mostly because they heal very quickly. I mean, the biggest one that I have is right here. I don't know if you can see it. That one right there. About an inch and a quarter long or so. And it was a good 1/8 of an inch deep right through a vein. And it took me 2 weeks to heal. That's a long time for me. Seeing as when I cut my hand and stuff, I mean, that was Monday. I had road rash on my palm. It's Thursday, and it's just about healed. I mean, it's just a little red, and it's healed. I had an entire blister right here from working a chainsaw, and I mean, it's just about healed, and it's been 6 days. I heal extremely quickly, yet some of these would take over 2 weeks to heal, and it's not good. And every time somebody goes to hug you or something, you can feel them pop in your sleeve, and more blood starts to come out. They itch, they burn. I mean, I was playing with little kids one day, and I had cut my arm the night before. I was at a party with some friends. There's some little siblings around too. And a couple little ones wanted to play dodgeball, so we were playing dodgeball. I got hit in the arm a couple times and popped one of them open a little bit. But then all of a sudden this little kid jumps on me and starts climbing on me like a jungle gym. And he grabbed my arm and his hand slid all the way down it and popped open most of my cuts. And I couldn't say anything, I couldn't even grunt in pain or anything. You just had to suck it up so nobody would know. And then I had to make an excuse to go to the bathroom and go clean up so nobody would catch it. I was just wearing a blue hoodie, and it was real thin. And the last thing I needed was somebody seeing it. Especially since the party I was at, there were a bunch of really close friends, and it was like an All Saints Day party, I think, which is November 1st. And that was actually right before I stopped cutting. That was one of the biggest things that helped me stop. Also, my therapist. Thank you, therapist. You are, yeah, screw you. Made my dad feel like complete crap. Made me feel like complete crap. Same with my mom. Never got to see my brother and sister, which I'm really glad about, because he would have made them feel even worse. I ended up kicking his shin in and screaming at him before he got the idea. Like, I didn't break any bones, but literally, he got to the point where whenever he would see me, he would get information from me, then he would see my dad. Like, we were every other week. I would go see Greg every other week. And then my dad would see him. Like, I would see him here, week space. I would see him again. My dad would see him. I would see him, week space. I would see him again. Like, that kind of thing. And he would see me, and then he would see my dad, and every time my dad would go, he made my dad feel so bad. I'm like, what are you doing to him? Because it wasn't like my dad. My dad has, like, some anger issues sometimes, but not like this, and he never gets this way. Like, I've never seen him this upset or depressed about anything. And I have the same anger issues as my dad. Mine, I think, are actually worse because he's learned how to control them and I can't. But I was in the chair with Greg, and I sat back like this. And I leaned over, I'm looking at him. I'm just like, sitting there, just staring. He goes, and how do you feel about whatever we were talking about? I don't even remember. I'm like, I don't know. He goes, you seem upset. What gave you these feelings? And to be honest, I hate that question. I mean, I just hate. Because I don't have, like, feelings on this and feelings on that. I just have emotions that are pretty much centered around anger, normal, pain, and then, like, happy. I mean, and then there's, of course, the numb that I used to get a lot. But that was more of, like, lack of emotion. So it doesn't really count as a category. And I was so mad. And he goes, how do you feel about that? And what are these feelings you're getting right now? I'm like, I'm feeling like you're making my dad feel like a piece of shit. Those exact words. And he goes, would you like to talk about that? You seem upset about it. I went, no fucking shit, Sherlock. And I got up and kicked him right in the shin. I was wearing construction boots. Kicked him in the shin so hard it blew his leg underneath the chair. Didn't break it, but I'm pretty sure I drew blood from his thigh, or his shin. Because he was trying not to grab his leg or anything, but I saw the color drain from his face. And it looked like it hurt a lot. I wouldn't want it to happen to me, but he needed it to get his head out of his butt. And then I just started screaming at him, and he just sat there quietly. He goes, You need to bring your tone down. You need to cool off a little bit. Quiet down a little. So I'm like, okay, that's not gonna work, seeing as here was where I was when I walked into the office, and then, alright, let's go all the way down. I don't even have any more reach. Here's where I was when I kicked him, and then somewhere up near the crack in the ceiling was where I was when I was yelling at him. And he's like, you need to cool off, you need to chill. And I'm like, screw that, you screwed me, you screwed my dad. You make him feel like crap every time he comes in here. What the hell are you doing? He's like, I'm sorry, I didn't know I was making you guys feel this way. You need to talk to me about this. You need to tell me how you're feeling. I'm like, I hate that. You know, and I hate you. You suck fucking dick. And I mean, I was like this extreme cloud of thunder and lightning, and he was like this mouse over here, which always ticks me off when somebody does that. Where they have that really soft voice. They're trying to get you to calm down. I'm like, dude, seriously, bring it up to my level before I just like rip your throat out. And I then was screaming at him and went to storm out of his office, and the door was shut. I mean, it's a little room. I think it was like 8 by 10, maybe, about that big. Maybe 10 by 12. Right in that vicinity. It's real small. There was 2 chairs, a little end table, and a desk, and a filing cabinet in the office with a small bookcase, and it was cramped. And I punched the door handle, because it was like one of the ornate ones where it comes up and it curves and stuff. I punched it so hard that it blew the door open into the wall and hit the rubber stopper. And I left the door open. I stormed out of the office, and luckily he had another handle. It wasn't a knob. I punched that, and then he had 2 glass doors, one here and one here in the like, here's the waiting room, here's like a vestibule, and here's the outer door. I hit this door and just blew it open, blew the next one open. I almost put my shoulder right through the glass door. And I hit it that hard. It literally felt like it was going to explode. And went outside, sat on a in-ground transformer box for about 5-6 minutes, and then stormed back into his office. And the receptionist lady saw me coming, and she points to the door, and I mean, I could see her. She was scared, and she pointed at the door, and I just nodded my head. I had a really angry look. I was feeling ugly. And I went back in there, and I blew the door open and started screaming at him again. He goes, you need to stop banging things. It's against the rules in the office. And you can't yell. It's not allowed. And he kept like, not stuttering, but like stalling between words, which was ticking me off. And I went, you know what? I don't work here, so fuck you. Then I commenced to screaming at him again. He got up from the chair that he was still in the corner, and hid halfway behind his office chair. He held it in front of him, like in case I tried to attack him again, I guess. And he's like, do you know what I was doing when you came in? I'm like, no, and I don't care. And I was still screaming. And he goes, I was praying for you, praying that you were safe. I'm like, you were worried about me? Seriously, dude, you should worry about your own safety. Because I was, like, this close to attacking him again. If he had even, like, flinched or moved or anything when I kicked him, I probably would have just started beating him up. Fists kicking, knees, teeth, just all in beat the guy to death, pretty much. I was that angry. And it was about 20 minutes of me yelling at him. And then he's like, okay, yep, I understand, I know. And I'm like, I don't think you get it. So he walks me out, finally, once we cooled off enough. And then I was in the waiting room. I went, you better get your shit straight, and you better apologize to my father. I don't care if it's in person, on the phone, in the office. You will apologize to him, or your life will be hell. And I stormed out. And he goes, I will make it right, as I walked out. I'm like, okay. So I sat outside for like 10 minutes, waiting for my mom to pick me up and bring me home. And to this day, that was November 2nd or 3rd. November 3rd. It was November 3rd, day before my birthday, and 2 days after the party. Because the party was Sunday. I saw him Tuesday. My birthday was Wednesday. I stopped cutting Thursday. And, I mean, I cut badly that night because of how angry I was. And how angry I was at hurting my dad that way, even though it was more Greg doing it than my dad. And it just wasn't good at all. I could have dealt with it better. Still to this day, I want to go back in there just to open up another can of whoop ass on him. But I've been controlling myself, and I haven't gone into his office again. And to this day, he still hasn't apologized, and it's been 259 days. He gave my dad a call that day saying that he was worried about me and that he needed to see my dad in the office. And my dad's like, you need to tell me what's up before I just like drop work and come in, because the guy's hours stopped at like 5 o'clock, and my dad works till like 6 o'clock every day, and he works like 30 miles away from the guy's office. So it wasn't exactly like something you could pop in over lunch and talk about. And my dad's like, you have to tell me before I just drop everything and come in. I have to have a reason. The guy's like, you just need to come in. And so he never really helped smooth things over, which is really why I'm so mad at him. But I'm trying to let it go. And I stopped cutting because my best friend was helping me, and a bunch of my other friends were helping too. And I'm like, wait, I let this guy have all this control over me in my cutting when he was trying to supposedly help me, even though I was his first case of self-harm in like 13 years that he's been a therapist. I'm like, dude, seriously get in another profession or deny patients that self-harm. Because I know you have to start somewhere, but when you fuck up that badly on your first shot, and he had another girl that self-harmed that was coming to him, another cutter. And the thing is, I had met her actually in the foyer, and I didn't realize she self-harmed. Because she was just wearing like white mid-thigh shorts and like a cute like yellowy top. And honestly, I didn't think of it. Like, I asked him and described her to him, and he's like, yeah, that's her. How did you know? I'm like, the only one that could have that I've seen in your office. And it was her. I wanted to say something to her, but I never got the chance to see her again. Like, our therapy schedules never clicked again, so I didn't get to say anything. Oh my gosh, I've been running for 25 minutes talking. I think I could talk forever. Okay, beside the point, but that's the story of me cutting. I was caught by my dad twice, actually 3 times. Caught by my mom twice. My little brother caught me once. And I self-harmed from February of 2013 to November of 2013. And I've been clean since November 5th. Suggestion for anyone who ever thinks of starting. It's an addiction. Don't start. It's so much easier to not start. Literally, I started February 19th with one tiny slice on the knuckle of this thumb, and I didn't like it. So I started burning the inside of my wrist a bit, and I liked the pain. I know it sounds weird, but I enjoyed the pain. And just no. I didn't like the weird paper cut feeling that I got on my knuckle. So I tried the inside of my wrist, and I was addicted since. It's not something to play around with. Don't start. It's so much easier to not start, to deal with the pain before you start. Literally, I was trying to stop from practically day one. And I failed stopping 4 times in the time that I was cutting. And I was getting about 25, 27 days. The longest I had stopped was 31 days. And that was hard. It was really hard. The best thing you can do, they say putting a rubber band on your wrist, snapping it whenever you want to cut, ice cube in the crook of your arm or behind your knee, pinching yourself, some sort of other thing, so you're not drawing blood. None of them helped me. The only thing that helped me, music, which is why I have some awesome Sony headphones. I got those early mid-January, I was going through a really hard time there. And I got those because they have incredible music quality. I got a camera to start videos. I'm actually using my laptop because I was too lazy to go get my tripod for my camera. So I'm just using my laptop because I was plunking around on YouTube, and I'm like, you know what? I've seen enough videos. I think I'm going to make my own. And just don't start. That's the best thing I can say. And to stop, all I did was grit my teeth and insist that I wouldn't let my therapist win. Because one of the last things he said to me was, you're not ready to quit. You're not going to be able to quit on your own. Not until you decide you're ready to. Until you feel you're ready. And still, you'll need a lot of help to stop. I'm like, is this a challenge, dude? Because, you know what, Greg? 2 fingers to you. 247 days clean. 247 extremely hard, challenging days clean. But I've done it. So, kudos to you. You were so right. I wouldn't be able to stop. But I did. And I'm a lot better for it. I hope this helps somebody. I'm sorry you had to watch half an hour or whatever I edit this down to. Probably about 20 minutes, which is still a really long time to watch a video, but I hope it helps someone. Thanks for watching. Bye.